And it's in the bag, boys. It is a Champagne Rugby Podcast, New Zealand's premier rugby podcast, coming to you from the Export Beer Garden studio at ACC HQ. It's me, Tony Lyall, with Sam Smith.
That's me.
And beaming to us live from a little place called France, it's James McOnie.
How's it going?
It's
Bonsoir, mes amis.
Yeah, je m'appelle Tony. Ça va?
What the hell are you guys saying?
Ça va bien, où sont les toilettes?
Bien en Paris.
And any other podcast. I've seen a host of other rugby podcasts sort of popping up as the Rugby World Cup goes to start. And to those guys, I say, in your fucking face, none of them have got a man on the ground in
That's
Paris.
right.
James, how's the vibe, mate?
It's good. I'm actually not on the ground. I'm on the first floor, but I hope that doesn't change things too much.
Yeah, well, I mean, we're never really on the ground, are you? You kind of got shoes on usually, so you got like a lay, unless you're in bare feet.
And that's unhygienic. You don't want to be walking around barefoot in Paris. You'll catch all sorts of things.
Well, it's bloody 30 degrees at the moment, Sam. So it's an absolute scorcher. Paris, it's so hot right now, and so am I. The pits have been going full noise. There's been a lot of rugby chat in the air, and I actually went and saw the French rugby team or their press conference, and of course it was just an exercise in cock blocking or le coq blocking as I was waiting to try putting my hand up saying, let me ask a question. They weren't too keen on the fact that I wanted to ask a question in English. I was happy to mangle their language, but they refused to let the player answer in English, even though he did speak perfect English. It's an absolute battle off the field at the moment. Just you can feel it now. And, of course, they are getting cocky because they got this bloody kick-ass team and they're pretty confident about winning this weekend.
Yeah, is that the general consensus over there on the ground? Are they feeling the wind in their sails? Are they feeling the wind in their Rainbow Warrior sails? I think they're going to go all the way, you reckon?
That's what you should do, McOnie Warrior, over there. You should explode something.
Be a bomb, a Greenpeace boat, Pilligai.
Yeah, great idea.
Oh, look, there'll be plenty of bombs on Friday night. You can guarantee the contestable kicks. They love it. And they've got these cool players, at the moment. They've got this guy, Damien Pernot, on the wing, who I describe as a cool guy winger. You know those wingers who don't ever seem to be full-on sprinting, but they're moving faster than everyone else?
Conrad Smith.
It's just the ball just bounces their way. Sitiveni Sivivati was a cool guy wing. There were a few cool guy wings throughout history, but
Joe Rocafoko, the coolest of them all. He just sort of ghost along, do a spin move on someone, and then do a big flickety-flackety dive, and he never looked like he really gave a fuck.
Yeah, he did not care.
He's a cool guy wing. And, there's the guys who sort of, the vein pops out, or the big blockbusting wingers, but the cool guy wings, they just make stuff happen. It looks easy. Game's easy. What do you mean? I'm playing international rugby. No biggie.
No big deal.
And then they've lost Roman Intermac and Jelly Bear, the guy who's come in. I like it because it sounds like a jelly bear.
Yeah, it does sound like Jelly Bear.
Delicious.
I'm actually, is it not Jelly Bear? I thought it was just like Jelly Bear.
It should be, because surely Fozzie would have something to say about that, like, hey, I'm the jelly bear on this block, bitch. But Jelly Bear's quite good at 10 as well, so they haven't even missed the fact that Roman Intermac, the chosen one, is gone. And they've got their fullback kicking goals. He does the two-step thing, a bit like Damien McKenzie, 2 steps from 50 metres, no worries, mate, or whatever he says, pas de problème, mon ami. So he's special, and then they've got the ultimate little general. France, they love a little general.
They love it.
Obviously, Napoleon, Bavizier running out of little generals now. But this guy, Dupont, is something special.
What do you reckon? Do you reckon at the start of the game we sort of employ a cat or dog scenario and we just send someone in to stomp the shit out of him, maybe take him out of the whole tournament just to do everyone a favour? Or do we want to see him running at full steam as the tournament and, really make sure that he enjoys the tournament? I kind of think it's sort of like you remember that old Lions tour when the Waratahs just beat the shit out of all the players before the Wallabies test? But maybe we could do something like that.
We should do that.
It's a good idea. The cattle dog, go full cattle dog. Yeah, the Lions had the 99 call against the Springboks back in the 70s. It's just like, let's just fight. And if you talk to anyone who's played club rugby in France before 1995, the fighting was such a massive part of French rugby. They wore cricket box all the way. because they had to protect the family jewels. They used to have, I heard Vern Cotter, who's the new Blues coach, tell a story about their team would kick the ball out, and then the forwards, and while the other opponents are looking at the ball sailing out, their job was to run through and punch someone as hard as they could in the face.
And I guess this isn't televised. Like, as long as the ref didn't visually see you, it's like the Wild West. As long as you weren't visibly seen doing the crime, you just have deniability.
Who didn't? Yeah, no, we don't know who did it. I
sure,
think that's great.
That guy's jaw's fractured, but I mean, anyone could have hit him. You can't send the whole team off.
McOnie, I've got a very important question about France. How many croissants have you had so far? Also, croissant.
Croissant, I've had deux croissants.
Is that two?
It's a two.
Yeah.
But I had a pastry today that was unbelievable. It was only €1.40, so what, just under $3 or something.
Absolute
unbelievable.
Steal.
I have a question for you, McOnie. How many French hooers have you had so far? Hooers, I believe they're pronounced over there. Have you dabbled in the local sort of sex work industry?
Oh, les hooers. Haven't had a chance yet. But look, I mean, it's a 2-month tournament.
You've got to pace yourself.
You've really got to pace yourself. You've got to pace yourself.
You've got to watch out for their kissing. Apparently they use their tongues, which I think sounds disgusting.
Oh.
Yuck. All sorts of germs.
Yeah.
I've also seen on social media, James, there's been basically any ex-All Black or Springbok or Wallaby that you can imagine has descended on France on some sort of paid-for piss trip. Have you spotted any big names so far since you've been there, and what have they been up to?
No, I haven't. I've heard they're around though. They're lurking. They love it because Andrew Mertens, I think, lives in France, and he's kind of the party general. Like, who's the guy in charge at the at Oktoberfest? The roast master.
Hitler?
No, I'm familiar.
No.
Yeah,
okay.
Not sure.
He might have been back in the day, but this Andrew Mertens kind of leads the charge, and then wherever he is, you'll see, George Gregan, and there's a few others, Brian Habana. So that they're around. I'm sure they'll emerge, but at the moment, I think going out to France and being demoralised was all I got. Although I did notice in the French media, shit, they're well dressed. They and I'm doing some content pretty much about their fashion sense for NZR Plus. That's who I'm working for over here, and you just go, right, it's just a high level. I know that Andrew Saville likes to wear a snappy blazer.
Yeah, he's been a Saville row for sure.
Level. Yeah, he's total Saville.
And what are you running, McOnie, in this scenario? Is obviously the beautiful French men in their tailored suits. Are you just sort of wearing a board short and loose-fitting jacket?
Well, I was kind of went a bit loose there. It's very hot. And because I think NZ Rugby is sponsored by Replay and Adidas, had to go unbranded today, although I did sneakily wear, my mate's Winston Sewer, who runs Sup2 clothing. So they don't know, nobody knows this though, but of course this is absolute top secret. But I'll be back in the old Adidas Replay gears soon. It's kind of weird working for New Zealand Rugby because I'm sure I'm going to piss them off. It's day one, and I'm just waiting to get an email at some point.
Well, if you do get fired, feel free to sort of send them either of ours contact details. We'd be happy to replace you.
Very happy to go over
covered in Adidas gear, and
we will wear literally anything that people make us wear. We will go.
Well, okay, fine. I'll tell them that you're ready to come over.
We're there.
It's okay. But look, I mean,
Tony and I will share a suit.
Yeah. It's a massive piss trip for a lot of those old legends. They are just always into it, and they'll go to different functions. They just get invited all over the place. I think Richie McCaw and Thierry Dusautoir, I'm not sure, the two great adversaries, the two great flankers, I think they're doing a special interview for NZR Plus. It's going to be cool. Apparently, Richie and Terry are great mates.
Yeah, they sort of had that sort of quiet guy, no nonsense, but will rip your head off vibe. I feel like they should do a run it straight, reenact that amazing 2011 final try that Terry scored, where he sprinted through. I think Izzy Dag sort of just flounced around and missed the tackle, but have Richie try to just do a run it straight. That should be the whole dinner. where one of them runs it straight with a ball, see if he makes a tackle, and then they just keep going until someone misses a tackle.
Until someone breaks a knee because they're old now. Yeah. Good television.
Hey, James, you talk about the hot weather over there. Is this going to be a bit of a storyline during the World Cup? Like 30 degrees, we're not used to playing rugby.
It's too hot for rugby.
30-degree heat. The first thing I think of is the South African team running a 7-1 split on the bench. These big boys, they have absolutely giant men. Is this hot weather going to come and bite those teams in the arse who aren't used to it?
Well, that's probably why they run the 7-1 split, don't they? That's the cure all is that as soon as your kit's off, then you're winning, right?
Then your kit's off's on.
Yeah.
Exactly, yeah. So as soon, and then they've got backup, and that's the thing. A big old forward runs out of gas. Don't you worry. We've got plenty more where that came from. Will they do an 8-0 split? Not really a split anymore, is it? But it could be all change, like you just see these big, giant wildebeests and giraffes, and there's a few rhinos in there as well. I'm just trying to think of South African wildlife.
Yeah,
there's one like a there's Quacker Smith's their little
he's a wee Timon or Pumbaa.
Yeah, what's the thing that Zazu is? He's a hornbilled
toucan or something?
Whatever he is, they should get one of those because they're beautiful.
Yeah.
And I think Rowan Atkinson voiced them, and they'll be funny.
Hornbilled, yes.
Yeah.
Who did Gilbert Gottfried voice?
He was Iago in Aladdin.
Oh, different movie. That's where I've gone wrong.
Gilbert Gottfried! Love it. Love him.
One of the great headstones, Gilbert Gottfried.
Voice is amazing, isn't it?
I don't know how he...
voices.
I don't know how he...
voices in Hollywood.
I don't know how he talks without giving himself a headache.
Well, he's dead, so he doesn't talk.
Oh yeah, true. What is this? You said he's got a great tombstone. What was it?
His tombstone just says Gilbert Gottfried, and then in inverted commas it just says "too soon."
Oh yeah, it's good.
Too soon.
This is a man who did a 9/11 joke on the 13th of 11.
Yeah, and it was not a good joke.
Who's the comedian who sort of has longish hair, he has bangs, and he almost he speaks a little bit like this.
Emo Phillips.
Yeah,
he's great. Great comedian.
Yep. Very particular vocal stylings of those two. Gilbert, can you do a Gilbert Gottfried for me?
Gilbert Gottfried!
Pretty good.
Yeah, that's the only... I kind of have to leave him back from the mic.
He really did have to. He leaned right on back.
I got very scared about it. And I might pitch it a bit too high, but... Oh, he's great.
James, just looking on the wall behind you, there's obviously a huge map of... is that just Paris there?
That's Paris there.
I want to talk about the vibe in general. Is the city buzzing? I remember that time in Auckland before the 2011 World Cup. The city felt electric. I mean, I believe hundreds of thousands of people poured into the city and tore the place apart on the opening night. Everyone was overwhelmed. Do you think that's going to happen again? Is France up for it?
That is such a project question, the vibe. But you've already asked the vibe question about 3 or 4 times. Did they turn you into robots at that?
I want you to give us some colour.
Every single time. Who gives a flying fuck?
Everyone. We're trying to imagine being there. We're trying to imagine what it would be like if we were in France.
I told you, the cabbies talk about it. And
you told us that off the podcast. That was before we started recording.
They want to place bets. Jesus, I know you work for a mainstream network, but the vibe question, honestly. Look, it's fine. The vibe is there's some people who are interested in rugby. The cabbies want to place bets. But I was actually going to ask you guys a question. Who do you think is going to win, and who's your surprise package for this one?
Is this for the whole World Cup, or you're saying for this game in the weekend between the All Blacks and France?
Whole World Cup.
I think this is my surprise package. I'm looking at Fiji. I think Fiji are a sleeping giant. They've got some incredible players.
They're the top-ranked team in Pool C, which is because they've overtaken England and Australia and Wales. So Fiji, they're going to be great. I really want to see Scotland do well. I'm really excited about that. But do you know what? I think everything's going to go down. It's going to be a crazy World Cup. And I think the winners are going to be the All Blacks by many, many points. Go the boys, no doubt in my mind. 80-0 every game.
I still feel like the All Blacks can win this thing.
Agreed.
I'm going France to win it. I think Samoa is my surprise package. And actually, look, Fiji, can you call them a surprise anymore after beating England? They were so good.
Yeah.
And they've got this, they've got a wing, Ravutamanda, who played for the Rotorua Boys High, and he played for the Warriors and was a discard. So if up the wires doesn't work out, and they're saying, geez, they lack a bit of X factor, that's where he went play for Fiji for the Ndrua and the Fijian team. And I reckon England's going to be a little bit better than what people think.
Yeah, I think so too. People are going to underrate. They're going in as massive underdogs, and they're always good. It's kind of like how Argentina is always really good in a World Cup year, and people always underestimate them a bit, I think, as well.
I think
they're hard to put away, England. That's the thing. Can you imagine England getting spanked?
They're tapping in threes all the time. They're going to,
yeah.
I was thinking about the Wallabies. They've had a shit-ass start to the season, lost everything that's come their way. But I just think that we write them off at our peril. I think that they'll be right up for it. Let's not forget the record that Eddie Jones has at the last couple of World Cups. Took Japan to that incredible victory, the miracle of Brighton over South Africa. Then England knocked us over. He's capable of amazing things at these times. And I think that the Wallabies, they could just be the team that surprises a few people, and it would really rip my undies if they were. But I think we write them off at our peril.
I reckon Australia are absolute dog shit, and they're going to lose every game by more than 30 points. They're dog shit. And come at me, Eddie Jones. I will take you down, you piece of shit.
I did see one thing.
Sam, I can feel the negativity. Keep it coming, Sam. I can feel the negativity from here.
All right.
I need to go and have a shower.
Yeah, give yourself an uppercut, mate.
Okay, Eddie, I'm back on side. I'm sorry, mate. I take it all back. I love you. You're going to win every game by 90 points.
Tony, can I just apologise to you about, I think that you do a great job on the project, and I think you're a massive bright spark in the media community. But I could tell that you actually hadn't prepared a question, because that was very similar to the first question you asked.
I've forgotten I'd asked it, in my defence.
Yeah. I
think we asked that not recording the podcast. This is where we've gone wrong. That was just us having a conversation, and you've forgotten that. So when I've asked it again so the listeners can hear it, you're thinking you're repeating yourself.
I think it was the first one, maybe. It might have been the first question, but I could... Well, I may stand corrected on that. That's true.
Speaking of which, how is the vibe there, McOnie? Is it the vibe? Are people excited in the streets?
Shut up, Tony. I've got a proper ACC question for you, McOnie. Which player in this week's game, the All Blacks against France, massive opening game. It's going to be huge. Which one do you think has the biggest donger?
Oh, who's it? Well, the France are worried about Dogroll. Yeah. Every single time a player was asked. The only thing I could understand was Dogroll, when they were giving, because they give you these headphones with translators, and I just took them out in the end. I was just frustrated. I just wanted to hear what they had to say, and you could see every single time they were going Dogroll. I said damn it a couple of times.
You think they translate dog? I don't know what the word for dog is in French, but you think.
Jam. And then roll, whatever roll is, baguette. Kind of roll. Sham baguette. So they were all about sham baguette.
Yeah, good.
And the thing is, if you think about it, he is the guy who's made the biggest strides, and everyone is kind of wary of. And look, who knows what would have happened in that game if he hadn't had the red card against South Africa.
Yeah.
But so vital, and all the journalists were kind of gutted that he wasn't suspended for game one. So up the Dogroll.
I'm so excited to see him because he's back, and he wants to get revenge on being horribly sent off. He's gonna smash him.
I saw something that was it really made me feel sad, made me feel depressed. It was an announcement of Stan Sport Australia of the new correspondent for the World Cup. It was Michael Hooper, and they had a little picture of him there in a little suit. And his little face, he looked so sad in the picture. It was so rough. So at least he'll be there reporting on the World Cup. But man, it really took the wind out of your sails to think this is not how he thought this World Cup was going to go.
Isn't it crazy to get taken out of a team because you're just too used to losing? Like, we'll get rid of all the players who are too used to losing, so we'll...
Imagine the injustice if the Wallabies somehow, some way go on to win the World Cup and the man who has had to do more losing captain speeches than I can even think of for the every year.
He's clearly one of the best players of all time, Michael Hooper. He's just been there for so long,
and then
week
Will
in, week out,
Skelton wanders in and is like, I guess I'm the cat. I played 40 minutes. I mean, I have been playing amazingly over here since I've left, so I guess I should be the captain. I played a half and a half, so let me lift the World Cup while Michael Hooper watches from the media box thinking, fuck.
It's like dating someone for 20 years, and then you break up with them, and then they get married to another person in like 3 weeks' time,
and ask you to MC the wedding.
Yeah. It's exactly like that. Hooper's also the guy who gets way too much. He'll get so much sympathy that it'll become a little bit problematic for him, won't it? You know, it's like, you should be there, mate. Oh, I thought it was poor treatment, blah blah blah. He'll lap it up for the first. He needs that, but it'll be the whole time he's there, and then just the awkwardness as well, because what's he gonna? At some point, someone's going to come over and have to do an interview. Is it going to be Eddie? Is it going to be Will Skelton? And what is Hoops going to ask them? And I mean, yeah, there's going to be. I'm sure Will Skelton on the day did the look at me, I'm the captain now, but I'm sure Hooper's got to have something up early, and he should be wearing a Kubra hat when he asks it as well.
He should. I think if they should organise that, so if the Wallabies do get knocked out, he should be the one sent in there to do the sideline interview, and just so we can see the grin on his face when he can ask Eddie Jones. So what do you think went wrong? Yeah. Do you think it was the selections?
Yeah. I've never heard a sideline reporter ever say, in your fucking face before, and I look forward to it immensely.
He's mooning the team. He's helicopter dicking the team.
Exactly. And the other thing is, like, he's got Eddie Jones on the ground. He's doing a typewriter on his chest, ting, 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 ping, and like just absolutely sort of owning him. And then they go, we'll be back just after these messages. And he's still there, and he's just carrying on the torture of little Eddie Jones. I can't wait for that moment. But yeah, the in your face, motherfucker, whatever he's going to come out with, I think it's going to be one for the ages, because I'm sure they plan, like, America's Cup is New Zealand's Cup and all this kind of bullshit. He's got to have something iconic,
If you were Michael Hooper and you were there, do you think he genuinely wants them to win? Or do you think there's like do you reckon it's 50-50? Do you think he's such a team man, he'd rather they just won and he'd watch it and still, he'd get invited to the after party, sure. Or do you think there's like maybe 40% of him who's like, I hope they bottle it?
I reckon he's got that great thing of where you're like, it's going to be great if they win, and it's going to be great if they lose, which is a fantastic way to be.
Yeah, him fist pumping when Ozzy get out is going to be a weird moment. It's sort of inverse Justin Marshall of Boda Barrett,
Go,
like,
Bodie!
Oh my God! Anyone kick it, score it, finish it.
The full moment. I love that moment. One of the great moments in Rugby World Cup history of Justin Marshall just going full fan as Ben Smith kicks the ball and Bodie sprints around. I think an aging Matt Gateau or someone like this who had no more toe to give and to score the try. And Marshall just thinking, fuck it. I'm just going to cheer.
Good on him.
Cheer that. Nisbo had a sort of slight decorum about himself.
Yeah. Justin Marshall doesn't give a fuck. He is just himself. I love it. Our birthdays are the same day, if you didn't know that. 5th of August.
Oh, nice. Yeah. You've got a twin there.
Yeah.
Nice.
Right, serious time now, James. It's time for a segment in the podcast we like to call Cheese Chat. Before you dart off, because I know you're probably going to go to bed, as I imagine it's pretty early, eating any good cheese?
Yeah, I have. I've had some. I bought some camembert, and I've had the cheese board. Even at this sort of weird suburban hotel, the cheese board was good,
Wow.
And then I had the ham and Emmental on a baguette today, and yes,
jambon.
It's top notch. Every time they get cheese out, they sort of give you something that is just, it's always, they care about cheese, they care about clothes. This is France, baby.
Yeah, it's going to be some unpasteurized, something that's never seen the inside of any sort of chemical factory. It's just milk gone rancid, and it'll be delicious.
Milk gone rancid. Look, I'm going to head off, but hey, look, this game, it's going to be, who's commentating? Are you up, Tony Lyall?
No, I'm not up for this game. I think it's a G Lane and Matt Heath special. I could be wrong on that, but that's what my spidey sense tells me.
Quick question before you go, McOnie, and speaking of Matt Heath, have people in France by any chance talking about the results of the wonderful television show The Traitors in New Zealand?
No.
Great show.
They're not.
You should really get them onto it. It was quite a good show.
Yeah, I've heard it's good. I heard Matt Heath, was it a short stay for him, was it?
Yeah, he had a bit of a short stay. Yeah.
Particularly long stay for one of the members on this podcast right now. Sam Smith actually won last night.
Yeah, boy.
Taking home an incredible, $30,000?
$30,000.
You won the whole thing.
I won the whole thing. Oh, sorry, spoiler alert.
Congratulations, mate. That is outstanding.
Thank you very
stuff.
much.
Oh, nice work.
Are you going to fly yourself over to the World Cup?
Yeah, I'm going, baby. I'll see you soon, McOnie. Save me a space next to you in your bed, I guess.
Yeah, come in 69. I was wondering, what's the that 30K is yours?
It's mine.
Is there a tax on that?
I don't know. It's a prize. Do I have to pay money on a prize?
Have they given it to you yet?
I've got it. I've already spent it, so I hope there's not a tax.
Come over, Sam. Come and join me.
You're about to get Wycliffe
for you.
Yeah, I'll be there.
John over here. And,
oh, that would be exciting.
That he got done for not paying his tax.
Oh, really? Oh, no.
I didn't mean you were going to become a member of the Fugees.
I thought you were going to say I'd have a great hit, like Gone Till November.
No, you got to
Oh,
jail.
what a hit. Wycliffe.
Yeah.
Be gone till November, I'll be gone till... Was that about going to jail? Tell my girl I'll be gone till November. I didn't pay my taxes, I'll be gone.
January, February, March, April, May.
Hey, now that's songwriting.
Bring the sports guy from the project. Bring him over and
we'll do it.
Show him a good time. He can do a story on the vibe, and we'll go and. Sorry.
Yeah, so if you could give us a message later on about how the vibe's going, just keep us updated on that vibe. Would be good to know.
We just want to know how the vibe is. We're trying to.
It's great.
We're trying to just imagine that we were there.
It's excitement and anticipation, and come over. You're both most welcome, and keep up the good work. We'll see you. We'll talk to you soon, eh?
Thanks for logging in. Up the Waz. Enjoy that first game. We'll see you next week.
See you, buddy.
Bye.
Bonjour. I don't know what the word for goodbye is in French. Au revoir.
Au revoir.
Yeah.
You nailed it. That. And speaking of which, Sam, I know we just touched on there, nothing to do with rugby, but congratulations for winning the Traders last night.
Thank you very much.
Fans of the podcast who do happen to watch terrestrial television still while it clings to life.
I'll tell you what, Tony, I didn't think people did, but my phone, as the rugby players say after a good game, my phone blew up.
And you know whose phone also blew up? You won with Anna Reeve. Very funny. Happened to post about it 5 minutes before the show ended. So I imagine a few people scrolling on Instagram.
Classic
a lovely
Revo.
little surprise when they thought, oh shit, there she is. She's telling us all she's won before the game's done. Very funny. To
be fair, the episode did go live on Monday night, and then she did it just before the end of the terrestrial episode, which I feel like she should lose her money and that should go back to me. I
think it should go back to you.
It's only fair.
And so with this amazing windfall, you've got $30,000. You outwitted, outplayed, and outsmarted all the others. I think that's the tagline for the Traders. You've donated it to charity, I'm assuming?
I've donated it to my student loan, first of all.
Nice.
Which is pretty much a charity.
Oh, that's depressing to think you won a television show and paid off your student loan with it.
But I did use some of it to renovate my garage. So now my boy, we built it, and we have another bedroom now, so that my two kids now have their own bedroom. So it's pretty freaking awesome.
Who doesn't think that television is glamorous, this is what people are doing with the money they win, paying off their student loans and renovating the garage.
That's right.
I thought you might have developed a cocaine addiction, or maybe bought a bunch of sex workers, but no, you've sort of done mild renos.
Yeah, it was great.
Did you buy a sex worker?
Literally none. Never have. Probably never will.
Probably.
Yeah, probably.
Leaving the window open.
No, I don't want to. Yeah, never say never.
Never say never.
Yeah.
Is there any money left? We could sort something out now.
No, it was all spent before before I actually won it, so it was very nice to.
Before you won it. Oh, right. You'd already committed to the renovations.
Already committed to the renos, and we're like, geez, I don't know, we'll figure this out somehow.
It's amazing.
And somehow everything just worked out, which is lovely. Worth watching. You can catch it all on 3 now if you want it. But,
all right,
but the Rugby World Cup's coming up, so just watch that instead.
We're going to take a little break, and we'll be right back with some more Rugby World Cup action, and we're going to pick the pools.
Ooh,
and we're back. It's Champagne Rugby Podcast, and the big game on Saturday, of course, France versus New Zealand, Stade de France in Saint Denis. I don't know, that must be the suburb. It's probably Saint Denis when I think about it.
Saint Denis. He's like the patron saint of accountants or something like that.
Saint Denis, the patron saint of divorce. He is there. It's the big game in that first pool, and I think what would be helpful for the listeners of the podcast now, Sam, is if we have a quick look at the pools, and we're going to make some predictions for this World Cup before it starts as to where we think people are going to be by the end of the whole thing, by the end of the pool play, who we think is going to go through, and then we can look back in a few weeks, in 4 weeks' time, and see either how bang on we were or how fucked we were. Those are the two options, bang on or fucked, as I like to call it. That's what the segment is called. And we'll start with Pool A, which is our pool, the New Zealand pool. Being in this pool is New Zealand, Italy, France, Uruguay, and Namibia. And the pool of death, this is not.
Absolutely not. There are 2 teams getting through this, no matter what. Where they end up is a bit of a free-for-all.
Well, it's this game basically dictates where they end up. Italy, you'd imagine, will be the tougher game out of Uruguay and Namibia. Namibia might be... There's going to be some good rubbing rugby, some good highlights will come out of those other games.
Yeah. These are the kind of games, I really like these games, because these are the games where someone can score 6 tries and become a world record, a la Mark Ellis against Japan back in
95. And it's also the game where a Namibian might become a cult hero for scoring a try and then celebrating as if he's won the World Cup single-handedly because he's dotted down against the All Blacks.
Those moments are great. There's a Namibian guy, and he was just the man. I feel like his name's Burger or...
Yeah, I think it was Burger, actually.
Yeah,
Namibian, he was a big, blonde character.
Yeah.
And very shock Burger-like,
actually,
yes. Funnily enough. Probably related to him directly, considering the proximities of the country.
They're all from Africa, so they'll all be related.
A very African chap, old Burger, the big blonde man. I think he's from the cradle of life himself.
So I reckon, probably, let's say we'll go New Zealand first, France. New Zealand first. Shout out Winston Peters.
Winnie P.
We know you love the podcast. Thank you for your support. Then France, then Italy, then Uruguay, then Namibia.
Yeah, I think I will also take that. I think New Zealand are going to win this weekend and therefore win the pool. France will come in hot. It's going to be a close game, good game, but I don't think they're quite... Well, I just say that because I love the All Blacks. Go the boys!
Yeah, go the boys.
And I agree with you with the rest of the pools. The second pool, Pool B, this is an absolute shit show. If you're Romania, those guys are fucked.
Yeah.
Because the rest of the pool is South Africa, Ireland, Scotland, and Tonga. And Romania are like, oh no, this is going to suck for us. And this one's a bit wide open.
I think it's got to be Ireland and South Africa going through. South Africa, I think, will go through on top. I think they're going to beat Ireland. I think, which means that New Zealand would play Ireland in the quarters, which is messy because Ireland are really good at the moment. I think it's really unfair on Scotland, who are playing the best they ever have, and they're awesome. And they're probably going to place third. But imagine if they beat South Africa. Oh.
I'm going to say that I'm thinking it's going to be a topsy-turvy pool where those 3 teams one of them will lose to each other and the other one will win. So I don't think one team's going to win all their games. I think it's going to be maybe South Africa lose to Ireland, Ireland lose to Scotland, Scotland lose to South Africa. So they're all on the same amount. It's going to come down to points differential.
Incredible.
And I think due to that fact, Romania are actually and Tonga are going to play a bigger part. And who knows, maybe Tonga might get up and knock someone over.
See, Tonga are a great team.
Tonga beat France.
Tonga beat France. It was one of the best games of all time.
If Tonga had beaten Canada in the 2011 Rugby World Cup, then France wouldn't have even made it out of the pool France wouldn't have played us in the final.
Yeah.
Tony Wilcock wouldn't have scored an incredible try.
Yeah,
Beaver wouldn't have kicked the kick that redeemed him. So Beaver probably wouldn't have started the Grins drink company. And so if you're sitting there drinking a Grin right now, you owe a lot of this to Tonga losing to Canada.
Not really a Grins guy, more of an export gold guy.
Yeah, it makes sense to me. I think it's going to, and I think there might be a points differential situation. And I'm going to say I think Scotland are going to go through 2, and Ireland won, South Africa 1, Scotland 2.
Oh, and no Ireland, the top-ranked team in the world you're picking right now.
They're going to go out on points differential.
Amazing. They've never won a playoff game at a Rugby World Cup to date. Then this game, they go into the competition ranked number 1 for the first time ever, and they crash out at the pool stage.
I mean, it's outrageous.
It's brilliant.
And my credibility might be up against the wall there, but we'll see how we go. Let's look at Pool C. This is, again, an interesting pool. Wales, Australia, Fiji, Georgia, and Portugal. And, I mean, I'd say those Portuguese, they're going to, they'll be there.
Yeah, they might even score a try.
Georgia again, they might score a try. Some big balled.
Georgia
angry
are really
there.
good.
They're great.
They're like South Africa, but without the backs to back it up.
They certainly are. They almost talk of them maybe joining the Six Nations, or because they've played Italy a whole bunch in that sort of realm. They're not. But I mean, let's face it. This is a pool between Wales, Australia, and Fiji.
So at the moment, Fiji are ranked higher than Australia and Wales at the moment.
They've just beaten England at home in Twickenham.
Yeah.
They've got a raft of incredible players, a big burly flanker who can also play 12. It's outrageous stuff. They've got absolute razzle-dazzle for days. And I'm thinking, and this could just be me being a Southern Hemisphere bitch boy, I think they call it, Australia, Fiji go through.
Yeah, I think so as well. But, See, Wales are also a good team.
Of course.
But is it... And they went into... I think last Rugby World Cup, they were fourth. They were ranked like 4th or something, or about that kind of... About there, and just sort of didn't... And this is still going back to the Australia-Wales game from the 2011 World Cup, where they... where I think Warburton got red card, and it was an absolute shit show, and it was so unfair... So in my heart, I'm like, I kind of want Wales-Fiji to go through.
I think
Fiji top,
it was
then
Wales-France.
Was it Wales-France? Am I mixing it up?
Yeah.
And I think maybe they played the week before then against
They played the 3rd and 4th playoff, Australia-Wales.
Is that what I'm mixing up with?
But
anyway.
You're right. I think that's going to be just a hell of a game, that Wales versus Australia.
Yeah.
And Aussie, I think, will top the pool. Fiji 2nd, Wales 3rd.
I'm putting Fiji first. Fiji first, then Australia.
And the final pool, and this is also an interesting pool. It's England, Japan, Argentina, Samoa, and Chile. And I think the way I'm reading it is the rankings when the pools were seeded. So Japan is 2nd in that pool, Argentina 3rd. And I think Argentina probably pretty happy with this. I think Samoa could probably knock over a cheeky team. England will be licking their lips.
Yeah.
It's a competitive pool.
I think England's going to get through because people are underestimating them. I think Argentina will get through as well. I think Samoa will be very unlucky. I think they've got a great team this time round, and they will. I think they'll get pipped at the post, and that is dumb.
Yeah,
that would be cool.
I would love to see Samoa go through. I think you're right. I think England will be the team that charges on through that pool.
I can't wait for a World Cup where the teams that go through are just like New Zealand and Fiji and Samoa and Tonga. It would be amazing.
Wait too long for that one. And all the permutations are sort of not worth talking about at this stage because there's so much footy to be played before we even start looking at the quarterfinal draw. But a lot of those big questions will be answered this weekend once everyone starts playing a game or two and we start seeing who's lost to who might win, and then we can start maybe thinking about a quarterfinal scenario.
Oh, it'll be good. Now, the other thing as well is we've got to wait. It's still 4 weeks until we find all these things out. So we've still got quite a while to ponder that and figure it all out.
We've got a shit ton of time. And remember, you can listen to all the goodness here at the ACC. We'll be covering all these games with New Zealand featured on Radio Hodaki and iHeartRadio. Get amongst it. Absolutely. Rip into it. I'm excited.
I'm so excited. And it's Saturday morning. Get up early. Watch a game live. then take your kids to their football game late. They can show up at halftime. It's the World Cup. Come on.
And I mean, the most important thing is I wonder how the vibe is.
We're going to have to... We should ask McOnie.
Yeah.
That's a good idea. We'll ask McOnie.
We'll get him back next week. We'll be back here and we'll be checking in on the Vibe King, who is James McOnie. I think we should start calling him the Vibe King.
Yep, I like that. And I also look forward to watching him just balloon in size with all the cheese he is devouring. He was eating a straight wheel of camembert as we were talking to him this morning. So... he is going to be a ginormous, huge mammoth of a man.
And just, there's so many good games. I'm so jazzed up for this. But that is us. I think we can probably wrap it in and put a pin in it. I'm excited for the game. Sam, congratulations on winning the Traders.
Thank you very much.
Anyone you'd like to thank for winning the Traders? Seems like the weird place to do it.
I'd like to thank myself for being so awesome. I'd like to thank genuinely, it was such an awesome, fun game to play. Everyone on the show was super awesome, super friendly, really intelligent, fun people to play with. So it was amazing. So I want to thank all the cast. I want to thank SPP for having me on. I want to thank my agent. And I want to thank, most of all, the boys.
Do you have any regrets about the show?
No, I don't think so. I maybe could have been more sweary. I could have maybe told more jokes. There were some people like, this guy's a comedian. he doesn't see these things. I got a few more jokes at the end of the episode, but it was all part of my plan to be a bit quiet and a bit under the radar.
Do you think that maybe in the final episode, the cultural appropriation you did was unnecessary?
I think it was appropriate.
This is, of course, Sam shaved his head, shaved a bald man's head into his head, culturally appropriating my people's culture.
I did, yeah.
This is basically blackface.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. And I'll tell you what, I regret it and I won't do it again.
You looked great.
People have been saying that, which is really nice, but what people are mistaking is that I was wearing a hat and covering up the horrible monk's haircut that I had to have.
You should seek it out, jump on Sam's Instagram, Sam Smith Comedy, and check out the haircut. It is, because you have quite a, is it called a widow's peak when you're
I did. And so instead of they tried to do a full monk ring around the top of it, but because my hairline's receded so much, they just sort of kept a tuft in the middle and sort of had to retreat it back.
They did some great comb work to sort of spread it out over the forehead. Very comical stuff. And the funniest, there was a moment in the show where you were sort of talking at a round table and it was very serious, but the wide shot was directly behind your head. And just shining like a beacon was your big bald dome at the front of shot. And everyone was trying to be serious and earnest.
It was the most serious part of the show.
The show depended on it. But your big bald fucking head was all I could see.
And they kept on. We actually talked for a while and then everyone would stop and laugh. And getting the haircut itself, it's the only time I've ever had a haircut where the hairdresser was legitimately laughing at me, like laughing at my face. He was a very kind man up in Warkworth on the main drag there. There's a hairdresser there. I can't remember the name of it, but do go to it. He was really, really good. But man,
did you looking back, do you feel like a little bit of a little bit foolish in that you were sort of tossing up a haircut as if it was this huge thing? Meanwhile, other people are contemplating tattoos, getting maggots tipped below them, eating eyeballs, and then you're like, oh, I don't know, I don't want to get a haircut.
Well, the big thing for me was that because with this is going to get a bit emotional now. With my MS, like my thing is that I have to show everyone that if you have MS, it's all right. Like I'm doing pretty well for it. If I go out and I was emceeing a gig for Blind Low Vision the very next week, and I knew that if I went out there with a big bald head, looking like, and I've had hair my entire life. I was born with hair, so I'd look just very ill. Like you have a nice proper tanned head of hair that you rock and you do it very well. I would look so ill that people would be like, oh my God, we cannot let anyone get MS in the world. I just thought it was completely off.
Surely that's the goal. If anything, that's what you should be wanting out of a MS benefit. People going, oh, Jesus, look at this guy. We don't want anyone else looking as bad as him. Let's pour the money in so we can fix this terrible disease because he is a real bummer.
You've got it wrong. I'm trying to recruit people to MS. I want more of us so that we make it more normal and we can talk about it more.
Also, did you slip in the fact you were born with a head of hair?
Yeah, I was. Kool-Aid.
Horrific stuff. What, you came it? You're like King Richard III, and you have the full set of teeth and hair.
And just quickly, just to go off that, next week is MS Awareness Week, so be aware. Next week, all week, there are people.
I'll be thinking about it the whole time.
Thank you very much.
I'll be like, oh, that's right.
Yeah, if you know anyone with MS, give them a shout out, and go to MS Auckland and the MS Society websites. You can donate stuff to them.
And anyone listening in Auckland, I believe you got a gig.
I got a gig Tuesday night at the Classic. Some of the greatest comedians in Auckland will be doing the show. You very kindly did it for me last year, and you've done another time. We run it every year. It's one of the great. We've got David Correos on the show.
It's an MS fundraiser. Let's point that out as well. Yes. We're not just plugging a gig.
Yeah, yeah. It's right. There's also heaps of great people: Courtney Dawson, Bailey Poaching, Jack Ansett, and Abby House, who won the Billy T Award, is doing the show, which is really awesome. Next Saturday as well, we've got the community walk, which is like the biggest community day for MS in Auckland. So head along to that. Come and raise some money. I'll be there. We'll be having a fun time. It'll be great. There's a sausage sizzle.
Oh, you've had me at sausage sizzle.
I knew it.
Was the last thing you said, so it took me a while to get there. And I just want to ask one question. I realize going back now a little bit, because with the shaving head, very humorous to me that you were tossing up the idea of how would I get a shaved head? I'm going to look awful. I'm going to look real bad. I don't want to cut my hair off. Meanwhile, one of the other contestants famously suffers alopecia and has no hair. Did it cross your mind that you'd be a real D-hole if you were like, I don't want to be bald, and then you had to tell that to your eventual co-winner, Anna Reeve?
I won. That was the reason I got that haircut, because my friend Anna Reeve is stunning. And I just wanted to be. I just wanted to be as stunning as Anna Reeve.
She's not a married man. You're a married man. She's a married woman.
She's married to a married man, though.
That's true.
Shout out, Jay.
Shout out, Jay Reeve. Well, thank you very much for listening, and I hope you appreciated
the extra traders chat at the end.
The extra traders chat at the end.
You get bloody everything on this podcast. World Cup, Vibe chat.
Vibe King, James McOnie in France.
It's going to be a great World Cup season. I'm absolutely pumped for it.
Get around it. We'll be here, and remember, listen to those games on iHeartRadio and Radio Hodaki. What a time to be alive. Go the ABs.
Go the boys. It's in the bag.
It's in the bag, boys. It's in the bag.